Donald Trump is the new 47th president, and all the things he has been talking about the car industry is going to be seen in action. And we all know that the president has said a lot of things before and shown how much he wants to shake things up. I am talking about making new policies and plans that will affect not just the auto industry, but the economy as a whole. So what's going to change, and how will this affect you? Is this the start of a new era? Look, before we get into what Trump will bring, we need to acknowledge that the current world is trying to transform into a place where the roar of traditional engines fades, replaced by the silent hum of electric power. This transformation is rapidly becoming reality in the global car industry, and the automotive landscape is at a pivotal crossroads, with global manufacturers like Ford, General Motors, and Toyota competing alongside agile startups such as Tesla, Rivian, and Lucid Motors. These companies are navigating shifting consumer preferences, advancing technologies, and increasing environmental regulations, all within an ever-evolving market. Current market trends show a surge in demand for electric vehicles, autonomous driving capabilities, and connected car technologies. Consumers today seek vehicles that offer performance, style, sustainability, and smart features. However, the industry faces significant challenges, including supply chain disruptions, rising raw material costs, and geopolitical tensions, which add complexity to its dynamics. And that is where Donald Trump's new plan will come into place to make changes. But before we get into that, subscribe and hit the bell icon. So how exactly are things going to change? Well, prior to the recent political shift, the Biden administration had set ambitious electrification goals, aiming to phase out internal combustion engines and promote green technologies through incentives, investments in charging infrastructure, and stringent emission standards. In response, manufacturers accelerated their EV production, invested heavily in research and development, and formed strategic partnerships to stay competitive. The pre-election environment was already a battleground of ideas and strategies. Legacy automakers were striving to reinvent themselves, startups were pushing the boundaries of innovation, and tech companies were entering the fray, recognizing the lucrative potential of the automotive sector. As the presidential election approaches, industry insiders, investors, and consumers are keenly observing the political developments, which promise not only a change in leadership, but also a potential overhaul of policies that could redefine the car industry's trajectory. The intersection of politics and automotive innovation hints at a new era that could forever alter how we design, produce, and interact with vehicles. Donald Trump emerges as a central figure poised to redefine the car industry. Known for his ambition and controversy, Trump brings a unique blend of business acumen and political strategy from his background in real estate, branding, and entertainment. His unorthodox approach to politics leveraged his business experience to appeal to voters frustrated with the status quo, with campaign promises focused on revitalizing American industries, reducing regulatory burdens, and renegotiating unfavorable trade deals. These pledges resonated deeply within the manufacturing and automotive sectors, where both workers and executives sought renewed support and clear directives. In the automotive realm, Trump's vision contrasts sharply with the Biden administration's focus on electrification. Historically supportive of traditional energy sources, Trump emphasizes domestic manufacturing, reducing dependence on foreign imports, and maintaining internal combustion engine vehicle viability. His administration's policies prioritize job creation in the United States, encouraging automakers to expand domestic production facilities to mitigate global supply chain vulnerabilities and foster economic resilience. Additionally, deregulation under Trump could alleviate compliance pressures for manufacturers, potentially lowering operational costs and accelerating production timelines. However, Trump's contentious relationship with tech leaders like Elon Musk introduces dynamic tensions that could shape the industry's future in unforeseen ways. Following Trump's election victory, the automotive sector reacted with cautious optimism mixed with uncertainty.
Now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy?
Initial policy announcements signaled a departure from the previous administration's electrification focus, emphasizing revitalizing American manufacturing, reducing tariffs, and easing regulatory constraints. Traditional automakers welcomed these shifts, adjusting their strategies to expand domestic production with significant investments in new and upgraded facilities. This pivot aimed to leverage local supply chains, reduce reliance on international components, and capitalize on government government incentives to boost domestic industries. Market responses were swift, with American automaker stocks experiencing volatility as investors recalibrated expectations based on anticipated policy changes. Analysts debated the long-term impacts of reduced regulatory pressures versus the global push towards sustainable transportation. While some viewed the easing of EV mandates as a step back from environmental progress, others saw it as necessary for economic stability and job preservation within traditional manufacturing sectors. Consumers faced potential changes in EV incentives, raising concerns about affordability and accessibility. However, Trump's promise to support a diverse range of automotive technologies, including internal combustion engine and hybrid vehicles, suggested a more balanced approach that could cater to broader consumer preferences. As the industry navigates these changes, strategic agility and foresight become paramount. The interplay between restored confidence in domestic manufacturing and the persistent drive towards innovation creates a complex environment where manufacturers must balance economic stability with technological advancement. The automotive sector stands on the brink of profound transformation, with Trump's leadership acting as a catalyst for reshaping the market. The industry's ability to adapt to these shifts will determine its resilience and competitiveness in the years to come, highlighting the critical role of leadership and strategic decision-making in navigating such a dynamic landscape. Shifting policies and regulations. Policies act as the invisible hand guiding the automotive industry's journey. Donald Trump's administration introduces new regulations that could either revitalize legacy manufacturers or challenge them to innovate anew. With the ink barely dry on the election results, the Trump administration swiftly moved to implement policies that align with its vision of a robust, domestically focused automotive sector. These regulatory shifts were designed to reinvigorate American manufacturing, reduce dependency on foreign imports, and recalibrate the balance between traditional and emerging automotive technologies. One of the cornerstone policies introduced involved substantial tax incentives for manufacturers expanding their domestic production capabilities. By lowering corporate taxes and offering rebates for investments in US-based factories, the administration aimed to make American manufacturing more competitive on the global stage. This initiative not only encouraged legacy automakers to increase their production footprints within the United States, but also sought to attract foreign manufacturers to consider the American market as a viable base for their operations. In parallel, the administration rolled back several environmental regulations that had previously mandated stringent emission standards and accelerated EV adoption. By easing these mandates, the Trump administration provided legacy automakers with greater flexibility in their production processes, allowing them to continue producing internal combustion engine vehicles without the immediate financial burden of compliance. This move was intended to preserve jobs within the traditional automotive manufacturing sector, a key promise that resonated with a significant portion of the electorate. Trade policies also underwent notable changes. Tariffs previously imposed on imported vehicles and automotive parts were restructured to favor domestic producers. Reduction in tariffs aimed to lower the cost of raw materials and components essential for vehicle manufacturing, thereby reducing overall production costs. Additionally, the administration initiated renegotiations of trade agreements that were perceived as disadvantageous to American manufacturers, striving to secure more favorable terms that would bolster domestic competitiveness. However, these policy shifts were not without their critics. Environmental advocates argued that easing emission standards could hinder progress towards sustainability and delay the transition to greener transportation. They contended that reducing support for EVs might slow down the industry's innovation pace, potentially ceding ground to international competitors who continue to prioritize eco-friendly technologies. Manufacturers were quick to respond to these regulatory changes, recalibrating their strategic plans to leverage the newfound flexibility. Investments in domestic production facilities surged as companies sought to capitalize on tax incentives and reduced operational costs. Simultaneously, some automakers began to reassess their EV strategies, balancing the need for innovation with the immediate economic benefits of maintaining internal combustion engine vehicle production. The regulatory landscape also saw the introduction of new safety and performance standards aimed at modernizing vehicle manufacturing without imposing excessive burdens on producers. These standards focused on enhancing vehicle safety features, improving fuel efficiency, and integrating advanced technologies that cater to the evolving demands of modern consumers. The push for domestic manufacturing. Under Trump's administration, the automotive industry has seen a significant shift towards domestic manufacturing. This strategy aims to rejuvenate American industry, reduce reliance on foreign imports, and restore manufacturing manufacturing jobs that have declined over the years. The administration's policies create a favorable environment for automakers to expand their production within the United States. Central to this initiative are substantial tax incentives and financial support packages. By offering tax breaks, subsidies, and low-interest loans, the administration lowers the financial barriers that have previously deterred companies from expanding operations on American soil. These incentives not only make it economically viable to build and sustain manufacturing plants, but also demonstrate a strong commitment to supporting the industry's growth. Investment in infrastructure is another critical component. Enhancing transportation networks and ensuring a steady supply of raw materials reduce logistical bottlenecks, lower production costs, and increase manufacturing efficiency. This improved infrastructure enables automakers to produce vehicles more competitively in terms of both price and quality. Reducing dependency on foreign suppliers is a key aspect of the domestic manufacturing push. By encouraging the production of essential components within the United States, the administration aims to mitigate risks associated with global supply chain disruptions caused by events like natural disasters or geopolitical tensions. Domestic production ensures a more resilient supply chain, allowing the industry to consistently meet consumer demand. The ripple effects of boosting domestic manufacturing extend beyond factories. Increased production drives higher demand for skilled labor, creating jobs in engineering, logistics, and quality control. Local economies benefit from the influx of employment opportunities, leading to increased consumer spending and overall economic growth. Communities facing unemployment and economic stagnation stand to gain significantly from these developments. However, the push for domestic manufacturing is not without challenges. Automakers must navigate the complexities of scaling up production, including workforce training, maintaining quality standards, and managing costs. Integrating advanced technologies and sustainable practices into new facilities requires careful planning and investment. In response, manufacturers are adopting innovative approaches to streamline operations and enhance productivity. Automation, robotics, and data analytics are being integrated into manufacturing processes to improve efficiency and reduce errors. Additionally, there is a growing emphasis on sustainable manufacturing practices, aligning with global trends toward environmental responsibility. Several automakers have already taken steps to align with the administration's goals. Ford, for example, has announced plans to build new electric vehicle factories across key states, leveraging available incentives to boost production capacity. General Motors is expanding its manufacturing footprint with investments in advanced manufacturing technologies to meet future market demands. While some companies have faced delays and increased costs in scaling up operations, these setbacks highlight the complexities involved in transforming manufacturing and underscore the need for continued support and strategic planning. As the push for domestic manufacturing gains momentum, the automotive industry is poised for significant transformation. The alignment of government policies with industry needs creates a synergistic environment where both sectors can thrive. Automakers that effectively leverage available incentives and adapt to the evolving landscape are likely to emerge as leaders in a more resilient and robust domestic market. This focus also sets the stage for further innovations, from electric and autonomous vehicles to connected car systems, paving the way for a new era of automotive excellence driven by domestic ambition and global competitiveness. Electrification under the microscope. Electric vehicles are at the forefront of transforming the automotive landscape, and under Trump's administration, their future faces both support and skepticism. The surge in popularity of EVs is driven by increasing consumer demand for sustainable transportation and stringent environmental regulations. However, the administration's approach to electrification introduces a complex dynamic that could reshape the trajectory of EV adoption and development. Contrasting with previous administrations that heavily promoted EVs through subsidies, tax credits, and investments in charging infrastructure, Trump's stance adopts a more balanced approach, recognizing the importance of supporting traditional internal combustion engine vehicles alongside electric technologies. The administration aims to cater to a broader range of consumer preferences and industry needs. A critical focus is the reassessment of existing EV incentives. While some support for electric vehicles remains, the administration is reevaluating the extent and structure of these incentives to ensure fiscal responsibility and market-driven growth. This could result in reduced direct subsidies for EV purchases, shifting the emphasis towards encouraging competition and innovation within the industry. Despite a cautious approach to EV incentives, the administration acknowledges the importance of robust charging infrastructure. Initiatives to expand the national charging network are pursued with a focus on cost-effectiveness and efficiency. Investments target enhancing existing infrastructure, optimizing charging station locations, and integrating smart technologies to improve user experience and accessibility. Balancing innovation with economic viability is central to the administration's electrification strategy. By encouraging manufacturers to innovate without over-relying on government support, the administration fosters a more resilient and self-sustaining EV market. This approach incentivizes companies to develop cost-effective technologies, improve battery efficiency, and explore alternative energy sources, driving advancements that could lower the overall cost of electric vehicles. Transitioning to a more electrified automotive industry presents challenges, especially within a policy environment seeking balance. Manufacturers must integrate electric technologies into existing production lines while maintaining profitability and market competitiveness. Additionally, reducing certain incentives may impact consumer adoption rates, as the upfront cost of EVs remains a significant barrier for many buyers. Automakers are adapting by strategically balancing investments in internal combustion engine and EV technologies. Companies like Ford and General Motors are expanding their EV portfolios driven by market demand and long-term strategic goals, while optimizing internal combustion engine vehicle production to sustain revenue streams and meet consumer preferences for traditional vehicles. From the consumer's perspective, the reassessment of EV incentives introduces uncertainty. Potential buyers may weigh reduced financial incentives against the long-term benefits of owning an EV, such as lower maintenance costs and fuel savings. In response, manufacturers are offering more competitive pricing, enhancing vehicle features, and promoting the economic advantages of electric ownership to maintain consumer interest. Technological advancements continue to drive the EV market forward. Improvements in battery technology, energy density, and charging speeds make EVs more practical and appealing to a broader audience. The administration's support for domestic manufacturing also accelerates these advancements, as increased production capabilities lead to faster development and deployment of innovative technologies. Looking ahead, the future of electrification under Trump's administration is one of cautious optimism. While policy reassessments may temporarily slow EV adoption, the underlying momentum driven by consumer demand and technological progress remains strong. The administration's balanced approach seeks to create a sustainable and economically viable path for electrification, ensuring that electric vehicles continue to play a significant role in the automotive industry's evolution. Electrification exemplifies the automotive industry's capacity for innovation and adaptation. Under Trump's administration, the path forward balances support for electric vehicles with the sustainability of traditional manufacturing sectors. As automakers navigate this complex landscape, the continued push for electrification promises to drive meaningful advancements and shape the future of transportation in profound ways. Trade wars and tariffs. Tariffs and trade wars have significantly impacted the automotive industry under Trump's administration, fundamentally altering the dynamics of global trade. The administration's aggressive trade policies, marked by the imposition of tariffs and renegotiation of trade agreements, aim to protect domestic industries, reduce trade deficits, and assert economic dominance on the global stage. These policies have profound implications for automakers, suppliers, and consumers alike. One immediate effect was the imposition of tariffs on imported vehicles and automotive components. By increasing the cost of foreign-made cars and parts, the administration aimed to enhance the competitiveness of domestic products within the American market. Automakers relying on imported components faced higher production costs, which could lead to increased prices for consumers or reduced profit margins. However, these tariffs did not exist in isolation. Key trading partners, notably China and Mexico, retaliated by imposing their own tariffs on American goods. For the automotive industry, this escalation introduced a web of increased costs and market volatility. Companies operating across multiple borders had to navigate heightened tensions, balancing the benefits of protected domestic markets with the challenges of higher production costs and disrupted supply chains. Automobile manufacturing relies on intricate and globally dispersed supply chains. Tariffs disrupted these networks by raising the cost of imported parts and materials, forcing manufacturers to reevaluate their sourcing strategies. Some automakers shifted to alternative suppliers in countries not subject to tariffs, while others absorbed the increased costs, negatively impacting overall profitability. Major automakers like General Motors and Ford experienced direct impacts from the administration's tariff policies. Higher costs for imported imported components prompted them to explore options such as increasing domestic sourcing or passing costs onto consumers through elevated vehicle prices. Foreign automakers like Toyota and Volkswagen had to adjust their pricing strategies to remain competitive in the American market, balancing cost management with market positioning. In response to tariff challenges, automakers implemented various strategic measures. Expanding manufacturing facilities within the United States became a priority to reduce dependency on imported parts and align with the administration's push for domestic manufacturing. Supply chain diversification also gained importance, with companies sourcing components from a broader range of suppliers and countries to mitigate risks associated with trade tensions. Additionally, automakers adopted cost-cutting measures and improved operational efficiencies to offset increased expenses from tariffs. Enhancing the value proposition of domestic vehicles through advanced features, superior quality, and innovative technologies became crucial to justify higher prices and maintain consumer interest. The long-term implications of the administration's trade policies are multifaceted, emphasizing domestic production has the potential to foster sustained growth in American manufacturing, increase employment, and strengthen economic resilience. Conversely, the volatility introduced by trade wars and tariffs creates an unpredictable business environment, complicating strategic planning and investment decisions for automotive companies. From the consumer's perspective, tariffs have led to higher vehicle prices, limited choices, and potential shifts in brand preferences. As foreign automakers adjust their strategies to remain competitive, there has been a noticeable change in the availability and pricing of imported vehicles. Consumers favoring foreign brands may face fewer options or higher costs, potentially driving them toward domestic alternatives offered by American manufacturers. The administration's trade policies also impact the United States' competitive positioning in the global automotive market. By adopting a protectionist stance, the U.S. aims to bolster its domestic industry, but this approach could strain trade relationships and reduce opportunities for international collaboration. The automotive sector must carefully navigate these geopolitical dynamics, balancing national interests with the benefits of global trade and cooperation to maintain its competitive edge. Looking ahead, trade policies will continue to shape the automotive industry's landscape. The administration's commitment to protecting domestic manufacturing suggests that trade tensions may persist, requiring ongoing adaptations from automakers. However, there is potential for future negotiations and agreements to alleviate some tariffs, fostering a more stable and collaborative global trade environment. As the industry evolves amidst these challenges, the balance between protectionism and global engagement will remain a defining factor in its future success. Technological innovation and competition. Technology is the driving force behind the automotive industry's evolution, and under Trump's administration, the emphasis on innovation and heightened competition has steered the sector into new territories. Advancements from assembly lines to electric and autonomous vehicles have always propelled the industry forward, and the administration's policies have further influenced how companies innovate and compete both domestically and globally. Recognizing the critical role of technology in sustaining competitiveness, the administration implemented policies aimed at fostering innovation within the automotive sector. These included increased funding for research and development, support for advanced manufacturing technologies, and incentives for adopting cutting-edge automotive solutions. By creating an environment conducive to technological advancement, the administration sought to ensure that American automakers remained at the forefront of innovation, capable of leading in a rapidly evolving industry. A key challenge for automakers has been balancing investment in traditional internal combustion engine technologies with the pursuit of emerging technologies like electric vehicles and autonomous driving systems. The administration's support for domestic manufacturing encompasses both internal combustion engine and alternative technologies, allowing companies to diversify their portfolios and hedge against market uncertainties. This dual focus enables automakers to maintain existing strengths while positioning themselves to capitalize on future technological shifts. Despite a measured approach to electrification, the administration acknowledges the importance of EVs and autonomous vehicles as drivers of future growth and innovation. Companies like Tesla, Rivian, and established automakers are investing heavily in these technologies, driven by market demand and strategic goals to stay competitive. The administration's policies support these advancements by providing a conducive environment for experimentation and development, fostering a culture of continuous innovation. The infusion of new technology technologies has intensified competition within the automotive industry. Legacy automakers are no longer the sole players. Startups and tech companies have entered the fray, bringing fresh perspectives and innovative solutions. This heightened competition has spurred continuous improvement and the adoption of best practices across the board, elevating industry standards and pushing companies to innovate relentlessly to maintain their market positions. To navigate the complexities of technological innovation, many automakers have formed strategic partnerships and collaborations. These alliances enable the pooling of resources, sharing of expertise, and acceleration of product development cycles. Collaborations with tech firms, battery manufacturers, and software developers are increasingly common, facilitating the integration of advanced technologies into vehicles and enhancing their functionality and appeal. Such partnerships are essential for overcoming the technical and financial challenges associated with developing cutting-edge automotive technologies. The administration's regulatory stance has significantly influenced the direction of technological innovation. By setting clear guidelines and standards, the administration provides automakers with a framework within which to innovate. This regulatory clarity helps companies align their development efforts with government expectations, ensuring compliance while pursuing groundbreaking advancements. Such alignment is crucial for fostering an environment where technology can flourish without regulatory ambiguities hindering progress. Sustainability remains a critical consideration in the automotive industry's technological pursuits. Automakers are integrating eco-friendly technologies not only in vehicle design but also in manufacturing processes. Innovations like energy-efficient production techniques, recyclable materials, and sustainable supply chains are becoming integral to the industry's technological roadmap. The administration's emphasis on reducing environmental impact supports these sustainable initiatives, aligning economic growth with ecological responsibility and ensuring that technological advancements contribute to a more sustainable future. Despite optimism surrounding technological advancements, automakers face numerous challenges in implementing and scaling new technologies. High development costs, technological barriers, and market acceptance issues can hinder progress. The administration's support for research and development aims to address these challenges by providing necessary resources and reducing financial uncertainties, enabling companies to overcome obstacles more effectively and accelerate the deployment of innovative technologies. Looking forward, several trends are poised to shape the future of automotive technology under Trump's administration. Advanced driver assistance systems enhance safety features and enable semi-autonomous driving capabilities, improving driver experience and vehicle safety. Connectivity and smart features facilitated by Internet of Things technologies allow vehicles to communicate with each other and with infrastructure, paving the way for smarter and more efficient transportation systems. The exploration of alternative energy sources, such as hydrogen fuel cells, complements the push for electrification, offering diverse pathways for sustainable transportation. Additionally, the adoption of modular and flexible manufacturing processes allows for greater adaptability in production, enabling automakers to quickly respond to changing market demands and technological advancements. Technological innovation is a key driver of global competitiveness. By fostering a robust innovation ecosystem, the administration aims to position American automakers as leaders in the global market. Advanced technologies enhance vehicle appeal and functionality, creating a competitive edge that can drive international sales and market share. This strategic focus on innovation ensures that American automakers remain influential players on the global stage, capable of meeting the demands of a dynamic and technologically advanced market. Ultimately, technological advancements are designed to meet evolving consumer needs and preferences. Features like improved fuel efficiency, enhanced safety, greater connectivity, and personalized driving experiences are increasingly important to buyers. Automakers that effectively integrate these consumer-centric innovations are better positioned to capture and retain market share in a competitive landscape. By prioritizing technological innovation and responding to consumer demands, the automotive industry can navigate the challenges of a rapidly changing market and achieve sustained success. But what do you think? Let's know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.